Madam President, on a different topic, just before our recent recess, the Senate overwhelmingly passed a bipartisan aid package, notably to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia. Ukraine has fought a heroic, historic, significant battle to defend its independence and democracy, thwarting a full-scale Russian invasion 2 years ago and showing the world how you stand up to a bully like Vladimir Putin. In fact, its resistance to Russia has major security impacts and benefits for our largest Western security. But as everyone in Congress knows, Ukraine urgently needs more weapons and assistance and needs it now. Our European allies approved their aid earlier this month. But despite European and U.S. Senate support, many almost unbelievable events have occurred over the past few weeks that endanger Ukraine's chances of success and global security. Closest to home, the House of Representatives has remained passive, detached, silent for the past 2 weeks on the Senate-passed National Security Supplemental Bill, with its leadership subservient to Donald Trump, who in turn is just enamored, a real bromance with Vladimir Putin. Last week, true to form, former President Trump went so far as to even say he would encourage Russia to attack fellow NATO members. Can you imagine anyone responsibly making that suggestion? I can't. Furthermore, on the global stage, public reports have suggested that Putin is thinking of putting some kind of nuclear weapon in space. For all those who want to embrace Putin as part of our future, look at the reality of the situation in Ukraine and in outer space. Amidst all of this, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny died in a Russian gulag prison just before a sham election in which Putin is afraid of any real competition. In response to this tragedy, Trump sank to a new low, shamefully comparing Navalny's death to his own self-inflicted legal problems. Is there anyone who doesn't see that Putin is gloating at this perceived impunity and relishing his congressional apologist? Why in the world would we play into Donald Trump's delusions? Why would Trump be holding Republicans fawn over Putin, a wanted war criminal responsible for kidnapping 20,000 Ukrainian children and taking them to Russia, a stunning number that is likely to go higher? Or imagine the scene shared by my colleagues from Hawaii, that of Ukrainian soldiers on the front lines checking their phones to see whether House Republicans passed our Ukrainian aid package. They were watching our votes on the floor of the United States Senate while they're risking their lives in a battle against Putin. These soldiers are fighting with their lives for democracy and security in Europe, while House Republicans do nothing. It's time for the House Republicans to pass this urgently needed aid package without further delay. Madam President, I want to show photographs of two individuals. 2 years ago, I had the privilege of meeting this man, Vladimir Kara-Murza. He is a patriot and a Russian opposition leader. What a risky business to be in. Putin twice tried to poison him, but failed. After his recovery here in the United States, he made a conscious decision that I couldn't believe. He said, I'm going back to Russia. Someone has to be willing to fight and die for freedom and democracy in that country. I said to him as he was leaving, you're going to face certain arrest and imprisonment. He said, I know it, but I've got to do it. He had to continue the fight. I'll never forget that moment of bravery and conviction in my office. Not long after his return to Russia, he was arrested for criticizing Putin's war in Ukraine. He showed the same kind of patriotic courage as his compatriot Alexei Navalny, who died just a few days ago at the hands of Vladimir Putin's henchmen. Putin tried to kill Navalny by poison too. He barred Navalny from running for office, from sharing stories of massive criminal corruption, and from speaking on the horrors of the Ukrainian war. Through it all, like Kara-Murza, Navalny was undeterred, and we know what happened. His tragic fate in that Arctic prison where he had been exiled. He was murdered by Vladimir Putin for fighting for freedom. Navalny, Kara-Murza, and the Ukrainians on the front lines are the brave patriots in this world. Heroes Congress should look to for inspiration and courage instead of resort in Florida, known as Mar-a-Lago. In a small but lasting tribute to Navalny's courage today, Senator Cassidy, Republican of Louisiana, and I are introducing legislation to rename the street next to the residence of the Russian ambassador to the United States. The new name will be Navalny Way. This will not change what Putin has done or the unspeakable harm he's caused the Navalny family or millions of Ukrainians, including those children who've been kidnapped. But unlike the hooded Putin thugs trying to erase Navalny's memory by arresting mourners and quickly removing flowers left at makeshift memorials, this will force Russian diplomats in Washington to be reminded every day as they drive by of their crimes. I hope Congress will quickly pass this symbolically important measure and in larger tribute to Navalny, our Ukrainian allies, and the thousands of kidnapped Ukrainian children, pass the supplemental without further delay. I yield the floor. Suggest the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.